Hello, Cheerios. It's your grateful producer of this show, Johnny Gwynn. And Karen is taking time to enjoy the 4th of July weekend. So we are going to rebroadcast an episode edition of Cheers to Business, episode 52. And Karen talked with Mobile, Alabama employer, employee, and personal retirement plans TPA specialist, Crystal Sears of Azalea Administration. Crystal explains the ins and outs of all the options employers and employees have with a 401k and other retirement plans, and how to get started saving for your future. Plus, learn why setting up an employee plan is one of the best ways for a business owner to hire, motivate, and keep your best team members. Everybody, have a great long weekend, and Karen will be back on the show next week.
Hey, I'm Karen. I'm a former CPA, entrepreneur, business consultant with big ideas.
Welcome to Cheers to Business.
Crystal, thank you so much for being here today. Tell who you are and how you got here.
All right, my name's Crystal Sears. I started Azalea Administration. We are a third-party administrator. We set up 401k plans for employers, employer-sponsored retirement plans. Started this company in 2009, so we are now hit 10 years in business. And
congratulations.
Yeah, that's a big milestone.
I tell you what, you were really important to us, Katie and I, and Katie's not here today. She is slammed with some payrolls, and she hated not being here, but we know she's listening, and so, hey, Katie, wish you were here.
Yes.
But you were the first company we had on Payroll Vault.
That's
you were
right.
our first client in early 2015. So
I was glad to be your first client too. I was happy. That was another milestone to have a payroll company. So,
well, I tell you what, we've always worked good together. We met 2008?
I think so.
And that was my old life.
Yes.
And I was doing third-party administration for retirement plans for clients, and I hated it. I don't know how you do what you do.
I always joke and I tell people, I'm like, look, this is how I got started. Karen Simmons had some plans, and I literally took my old Forerunner over to her office, and I loaded up the back of my car, went back to the office, got the work done, and it started from there, you know.
It's been a relationship made in heaven because I didn't want them. It's very tedious, and especially in my old age now, I'm staying away from anything tedious.
Yes.
And you work with actuaries. I mean, it just really, really gets complex, but we're going to keep it simple today.
Right. Let's do that.
Okay. The first thing we're going to talk about is what is a retirement plan? What is when small businesses start out, they don't have any money to put into a plan.
Right. So normally a new business, a small business is not going to have any money to put into a retirement plan. But once you get going and once you're making money, you need a retirement plan.
You know, another thing I've seen, I think your business increases when we either have a hurricane, not catastrophic, but enough to where it helps the economy out. I hate saying that.
Right.
Sometimes it's good for a small one to hit. You don't want anybody to get hurt, but it does boost the economy. You're talking insurance adjusters, construction. Did you know that boob jobs are an indicator? I swear. When I was practicing back in the old days when the storm hit, afterwards, the plastic surgeons.
Yeah, people got money.
Everybody had money, and you could tell when the economy was tanking because the plastic surgeons weren't doing as well. Everybody got a boob job back when it was good.
Is that deductible?
I don't do that anymore.
There you go.
So anyway, FYI, boob jobs are an economy indicator.
There you go.
All right, side note. Sorry, I need a filter. You know, while we're sitting here talking about retirement plans, who should be looking for a retirement plan?
Individuals and certainly business owners. Business owners because, number one, they need that tax deduction and they need to save.
Going back to the what?
Yes.
So either a company grows and it's getting bigger and bigger. When people are young, they think, oh, I got plenty of time for that. But then they get to be close to a 54-year-old grandmother like me, and they go, oh, crap, what am I going to do? I got to pay somebody to wipe my butt later on in life because I only had one kid.
Yeah.
So my odds are good. Yeah, no. It's not like I don't aggravate her.
Sorry, Katie.
So all of a sudden, I've got to be responsible and be an adult, and I've got the money to do something. I have money sitting there. Not a whole lot, but a little bit, and I've got to start planning.
Right.
And so who should they reach out to first?
Right. So the first person you want to always talk to this about is your CPA and or your financial advisor. That is going to be your go-to. They're going to tell you and advise you if this is something you need to do or something that you should do. And I'll just tell you, once you start getting employees, you better have a 401k plan. If you don't, you may as well not have health benefits or anything else because people are looking for it.
Well, it's so hard to find workers now. I mean, you got to be able to compete with other companies. And sadly to say, you got to compete with the big boys too.
That's right. That's right. We're in a good place right now. I mean, people that didn't have jobs, 3-4 years ago, people have got jobs now. They're working, they're making money. Like everyone's doing good. And I can't tell you the growth I've seen in 401k plans.
You know what else I've been saying probably for about a year now is that if you are unemployed right now, it's because you want to be unemployed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's jobs. I mean, I've had staffing companies tell me, hey, we got jobs that we cannot fill.
Hey, if anybody knows a machinist, we need one at our fab shop, by the way, please.
Yes, yeah. And 401k plans, there's always a way to start. And that might be just a simple plan where you don't need a third-party administrator.
Tell what that one is, because that one was for that small business person, it's ideal.
So a simple plan, the limits are a lot smaller. You can't max out to your 19 and 25,000 if you're over age 50. But you can put in around, I don't know the limit right off, but I think it's around 11,000.
I think it's 14, isn't it?
Something like that.
I don't know either.
It's decent, and you do have to
match. You know what? You get to put in more if you're over 50.
Right.
So that's it with the over 50.
But always, a simple plan is a great way to start, to get one started. The thing is and it's an employer, you've got to match 3%. And if you were going to do a 401k plan, you got to match 4%.
But there's two kinds of 401k plans, right?
Right. You can do a straight 401k or you can do a safe harbor 401k.
Now, to me, a safe harbor has always been the way to go because then you're helping your employees if they choose to help themselves. So that's where a match comes in, people hear about. And then there's words like vesting, and we're not going to go into all that today. That's where we want to give you listeners enough tidbits that you go ask the questions to have the bigger conversations.
Yeah.
I always love working with you because you're so honest in what people need. So I'd call up thinking, I want to safe harbor, say 401k plan and blah, 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 blah. Profit sharing, possibly, and you go, Karen, that person doesn't need all that. Do a solo 401k.
Right.
Tell what that one is.
Okay, so a solo 401k is for an owner, and if they have a spouse, like a lot of times you have an owner spouse, company owned setup. So either the owner or the owner spouse, and that is simply called a solo 401k. It's very simple to set up. You set up with your financial advisor, and you can max that thing out to, you can each put in $62,000 a year.
That's crazy.
If you've got the comp to support it. And that's huge
compensation,
deduction.
by the way.
Yes, compensation. If you've got the money, the income to support it, you can max that thing out, and that's $124,000 you can deduct on your income.
That makes me think of insurance adjusters. It makes me think of truck drivers and realtors.
Yes, definitely. So we do set those up. I'll just tell you, we're about $400 to set that thing up, and about $600 a year to keep up with it.
If you're making the kind of money that you can max out that much into 401k, the tax savings alone, because you're probably with state tax going to be close to 40%.
Yes. And getting to the cost of it, one kind of neat thing is any brand new 401k plan, and a solo K is considered a new 401k plan.
I hear a tax credit coming.
A $500 tax credit for the first 3 years. So
that's awesome.
Well, so your cost is going to be $100 a year on the admin side. So and that's any 401k, no matter if it's solo K, brand new, even when you convert your simple to a 401k
I did not
plan,
know that.
Yes, you get that tax credit because you're going to have to start paying admin fees.
Okay.
You got to pay us to do the job.
What I've seen, and it's just because people don't know what they don't know, but they'll say, I wrote a check and put $12,000 into my simple plan or my 401k, and we go, they didn't use payroll vault for number one, or they didn't tell payroll vault. Or me as a CPA till later on, but that stuff has to run through payroll.
Yes.
Because you have to tax it for Social Security and Medicare, but there's no federal or state tax. And that's where that 40%, if you're making a ton of money, the highest tax federal bracket's 37%, and you got Alabama's 5%, but effectively about 4%. You figure you put $100 into a 401k plan, you're going to, if you save 40% of that, it costs you
Yes.
60
Right.
cents on that dollar.
Right. If you're a business owner and you do not have a 401k plan, you better call somebody, because I'll tell you, I mean, just as me as a business owner, if I did not have a 401k plan, I'm already paying a lot in taxes. I mean, let's just face it. We pay. Freedom ain't free. We got to pay taxes.
That's right.
So, but with a 401k plan, everything helps. A 401k plan it's a way to save money, but you're saving it to yourself.
Yeah, you're just putting it in a side pocket to be used for later.
Yeah, that's exactly
It's
right.
still your money,
Yes.
and it has to be under these plans. It has to be held by a third party.
Yes.
You can't.
It's tax deferred income.
I've had people ask me, can I buy a rental house in my 401k? I said, there's ways to do it in IRA, but you can't
You can
touch
do
it.
Yeah.
You can't go cut the grass.
Right.
You can't
Nope.
touch it.
You can do it, but I'm not going to do it for you.
I'm not doing it. I would never touch them. No.
But we've got them.
No, I don't even want to touch that. It's too
Yes.
much.
We've had people want to buy cars. You name it. So that
Hey,
gets
buy
touchy.
gold. Isn't that what the commercial
Yes.
says?
Yeah. Hey, we got that too. I got somebody with that in the safe.
So we've excited some listeners and go, what? They're saying, oh my God, why am I not doing this? I could save money. I keep the money. But how do they do it? What do they do?
Right. If you are an employee and you are working and you are making money, this is my advice to you. Go to your payroll person, your HR person, whoever is in charge of payroll. You tell them, let's just say I want to put in 5%, and your company's probably matching. So,
And that's money you're leaving on the table, because even if they have a safe harbor, it's so complicated the way they do it.
is.
But it's equivalent to about 4%.
yes. But if you tell them how much you want to defer and say, hey, what's that going to make a difference in my pay? Because that payroll person can run that number and show you what 5% really is to your net.
And you'll be so surprised on
Yes.
how little that you won't miss that.
Right.
Because, I like that book, The Wealthy Barber.
Yes.
And in that, I'm on the second Audible now, but in that book, it's pay yourself first.
Right.
For example, if you start putting it away, after a little while, you're not going to miss that money that you're putting away. Like payroll vault that we pay for the employer, we'll pay the 401k in if it's feasible. And the small amount, a little at a time, is much better than writing a big old check.
Yes.
So what I do is I would say, okay, starting January, my first paycheck, by the end of the year, I want to have this much in there. So I'll just break it up over how many pay periods, and I don't miss it that bad.
That's right. And that's the normal. That's what I do. That's what just about everyone's going to do. But just always remember, it's you can do pre-tax or you can do Roth, which is after tax. It's talk to your financial advisor, your CPA about which one is best for you. But if you do pre-tax, sometimes 5% might really be like 3% or 2% in your net pay. So
Well, when you take off the federal and state taxes, you're not
Yes.
having to pay in. Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. And I'll tell you what, too, your employer, this is the best thing for your employer, because you want your people to be able to retire. You don't want to be paying health benefits to a 72-year-old person still having to work because they can't retire because you didn't have a retirement plan.
Yeah, and I don't want to work at Walmart.
That's right.
More
Yeah.
power to all those people who work at Walmart, but I'm not a very good greeter. I'd start talking to somebody. Next thing I know,
Everybody's walking out the door with TVs.
Yeah, I'd get in trouble. I would just get in trouble.
All right. So anything you hear about a 401k, and try not to listen to anything negative. I'm such a positive person. Like, the only thing negative I ever hear is like, oh, aren't 401ks filled with fees and
No.
expenses and things like that? Well, you know what? Investing isn't free. And just watch some YouTube videos. Do something. I mean, you're going to see, you can get some cheap index funds that aren't going to cost you anything, but you're not going to get a return either.
It's risk.
Pay for the fund, pay the financial advisor to pick those funds for you, and make some money.
Well, most of the time that it's going to be a percentage of the assets. So they want it to grow. The more it grows, the more money they make. And your fee is very reasonable.
Yes.
We're not going to get into that
And the
here.
more money you make as a
Exactly.
participant. So you definitely want the growth. You want to invest in it. 401ks sometimes are the only thing that people are investing in. And nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. I've always seen it too as if you put in a 401k plan for your staff, you've just given them a raise.
Yes. And I have a lot of clients that look at it that way. Sometimes they'll do profit sharing versus bonuses or something. And that's better for everyone because the employer's getting the deduction, the employee's getting a growth in their retirement. It works out.
Well, and it also, I think it's a reward for loyalty. It's loyalty because the longer the staff is there, the more vested they are in those funds that in the profit sharing part, that's discretionary to the owner of how much they're going to put in, and then it's allocated based on a formula. But, the longer you're there, the more you're entitled to that money. So it's a reward for staying with the company. It's so hard getting new employees and turnover and the learning curve that it's a cost to the employer. So why not reward your good people and have them stay? That's another way to save money in the long run.
Right. And I think one of the other misconceptions I always get asked is, somebody will say, well, once I put that money in there, I can never take it out. And that is not true. That is not the case. You have hardship reasons that you can take the money out if you desperately need it for
you're still going to have to pay tax on it.
That's right.
Unless it's a rob.
That's right.
But there's no penalty.
Right. Well, you have if you're under age 59 and a half, you have a 10% penalty. But once you're 59 and a half, you can start taking withdrawals. You can move it to an IRA. You can do whatever you want to do. That's an in-service withdrawal, even if you're still working. But if you truly needed that money out of there for some kind of a hardship reason, you can get it. So I always tell people that, put it in there because I think that's just a misconception. People think once I put it in there, I can't ever touch it or see it.
Right.
And that's not always true.
And for the listeners out there that are employees, a lot of times you can do a loan from your 401k.
Yes.
And that's usually a lower interest rate than a credit card or going to a bank and getting a loan.
That's right. And you can take 50% of your account balance for a loan.
Now, don't you have to stop deferring out of your paycheck into it for a while?
You used to with hardships, but that's gone.
Really?
Now. Yes.
I didn't know
now
that.
You don't stop deferrals for any reason.
See what happens, how much I lose when I get out of the business.
Yeah. So definitely, loans are an option. I'm not a huge fan of loans, but if you need it, and as an employer, it'll keep you from having to loan your employees money.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and as an employee, if you need it, like Karen said, you're paying the interest back to yourself, not the bank or the credit card.
Yeah, it doesn't go to the employer.
Whatever.
The interest you're paying in stays in your 401k.
Right. That's right. And you can take up to 50% of your account balance or $50,000. So that's a pretty good deal, So definitely even more of a reason to save in case you ever needed to take it.
So, Crystal, what is the best client for you?
Any client. We have clients from one person to our largest plan is 5,000 employees.
Holy cow.
And from $1 to $50 million.
You have a plan with $50 million in it.
Yes.
Wow.
So, we like them all. So, definitely.
I'm a big proponent of why I don't clean my house and why I outsource everything that I can. And that's kind of what you do, right? Or it is?
Yes, that is exactly right. We are your outsourced administrator.
And folks, trust me, you do not want to mess with this stuff. It's too complicated. It's too regulated. It's governed by the ERISA laws, which I'm not even going to go into. And so if you don't know what you're doing with this stuff, then you don't need to be touching it.
That is absolutely correct. And I believe the same way. I don't do payroll. I don't want to do payroll. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. I don't want to be a CPA. Just let me do what I do, and I will do the best job for you.
And that's why we're such good friends.
Yes.
One thing I'd like everybody here to know that's listening, Crystal's actually sponsoring this show today. Thank you so much for coming out. But you know what? I would recommend you in your company. You've got a great team, whether you were sponsored or not. You have always taken care of my retirement plans in my companies. You have always taken care of my clients. I made a life choice, but I still care about them, want them to continue on.
Right.
And your company, Azalea Administration, has been such a pleasure to work with. You made it easy. You took care of me, and I want to thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you for
You're
sponsoring.
welcome.
That's exciting to have a sponsor today.
Yes, and I'm happy to sponsor in any way that I can. So definitely, and I encourage everyone out there, if you have a business, get in touch with Karen and sponsor this thing. Get on the air.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Hey, go to iTunes too. Rate us really big. We want to keep doing this. Well, Crystal, we've got everybody stirred up today about, I can save some money and I can get to keep the money. So how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, so I would love to tell you to call me, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you to call your CPA, call your financial advisor. There's a pretty darn good chance that I already work with them, and go from there. But if you want to learn and you do want to call me and, maybe you're not getting a response from them, by all means, our website's azaleaadministration.com. My email address is on there, phone number. Hunt me down, Google it. You can find somebody these days if you need them.
I tell you what, another tidbit too is that you are president of the West Mobile Rotary this year.
Oh, goodness gracious!
I know. So come see us for lunch at Briquette's on Mont Lamar on Tuesdays.
There you go, and we get points for guests. So come on, at 12 o'clock, Mont Lamar on Briquette's. Come as my guest or Karen's guest.
Come as my guest,
and I'll take we'll take credit for you.
We'll take turns.
Yes, and I would love to talk to you about your business, your 401k, whatever you need or have questions on. I love what I do. This is all I've ever done. I started out in college. I've never done anything else, so it's really all I know. I really do. I love what I do. I love the people that I work with, the people I see, the people I meet, and thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, Crystal, every end of the show, Katie and I come up with the cheers.
Okay.
All right, so I'll do one and then you do one. Cheers to saving taxes on money that you're putting aside for yourself.
I'm going to keep it real easy, and I'm just going to say cheers to Friday. Because this has been a crazy week. I just told you, I said, I think I'm going to need to smoke or vape after this week.
We'll have some wine.
Something, yeah. It seems like the later into the year it gets, the crazier it gets.
So. All right, well, cheers to you.
Yes.
And cheers to the administration, and cheers to retirement plan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please be sure to subscribe to Cheers to Business podcast on iTunes or anywhere else that you get your podcast. Visit our Facebook and be sure to give us a like. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, shoot us an email from the website cheerstobusiness.com.